Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee. I haven't done a weather video on the overnight, but there's a lot going on tonight, so I thought we'd take a good look and see what's happening here. First off, a couple of things that stand out is the fact that we have some very heavy rains and thunderstorms that are moving across Pennsylvania and through New York State. Most of it is well north and west of the coast. You can also pick out right here these low clouds, and that's what the coastal areas are sitting in. There's a warm front that's actually just to the south of New York City and Philadelphia that's pushing northward. So that's going to make for a different kind of day on Friday. There'll be a lot of clouds, but temperatures will get up into the 70s as this front begins to push east. We also have this spinning low, that broad area of low pressure that continues to just rotate around, has still not acquired a tropical signature that would allow this to be a subtropical or tropical storm, but it is moving north-northwestward, and all of this is very complex in how it's all going to get involved over the next 48 hours or so. Here's that area of heavy rain that is now moving through much of upstate New York, in and around Lake Ontario, extending down through south central New York, and then we have a snaking line of thunderstorms, and some of these thunderstorms are actually quite strong. Certainly for this time of year, you don't often see outbreaks of severe weather, but the Storm Prediction Center does have this entire area here at slight risk for severe during the overnight, and the radar is certainly bearing that out. Now, as we go forward, what's happening is we have the front that is moving toward the coastline. Now we're into Friday evening here, and I'm just going to show you. Let's put the fronts on here and show you exactly what's going on. Okay, so we do have a developing wave on that front, and here's the cold front here. We have the warm front that extends. It's just kind of snaking in this way. It's a little tough to find. Most of the winds up into New England are from the southeast, so that's providing good inflow. You've got this heavy rain that sets up during the day on Friday up in western New York and western Pennsylvania. You've got the tropical low here east of the cold front and south of the warm front. So this is what we call the warm sector of a typical non-tropical cyclone, which encompasses this entire thing here. So the tropical system's kind of embedded inside the influence of the non-tropical system that is developing. Now what happens is that the systems on the GFS at least consolidate and into one low. Well, the tropical system winds up getting absorbed. You can still see a bit of an identity of it right about here, but it winds up getting pretty much absorbed into this intensifying low that moves up into New England during the day on Saturday. Now the GFS would argue that the rainfall in and around the New York City area, northern New Jersey, really doesn't amount to too much. And there isn't much going on at all when you look further south. And once you go down south of central New Jersey and down through Maryland and Delaware, all we get here during the day Saturday is a strengthening northwest wind that brings down the colder air. You can see some wet snow on this model on the edge of it. But the other models tonight kind of have a little bit of a different look to it. I'm going to jump to the Canadian model, the RGEM model, as it is known as. It's a short-range model. It only goes out to 48 hours. And what the RGEM suggests, and by the way, this model did very well a number of times during last winter when we got into the short range. The RGEM develops a low, but kind of keeps it pinned back here, and you can see it right there on the map. This is where the low is Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. The tropical low is getting absorbed, but the RGEM wants to argue that there's rain that goes back a little. I have it drawn a little too far south, but you can see where the green is, that it does have rain going back further south and west. So this model would argue that we would see rain here. When I say here, I'm talking about for most of New Jersey, southeastern Pennsylvania, northeastern Pennsylvania, the Hudson Valley, into Connecticut, Long Island, and so on. that rain on this model lasts pretty much into the afternoon before it pulls out, and it actually develops some snow in this area, the middle and upper Hudson Valley, upstate to northeastern New York in the Adirondacks. Of course, I would favor higher elevations with this. And because we're dealing with a very strong and cold system aloft, you got to be a little careful with this in elevated areas. This is one of these situations sometimes where, you know, you have about 1,500 or 2,000 feet of elevation, and you're sitting in a heavy, wet snowstorm. And in fact, just to show you on the RGEM model, when we look at the total snowfall on this, it actually gives the Adirondacks a band of 3 to 6 inches in that area. The GFS is completely different, at least through 48 hours, but it does eventually get to the same place. It just takes a little bit longer to get there. I'll switch off to that model, and you'll see the snow on that model really comes Saturday night into Sunday morning on the order of several inches. And it also produces snows across much of northern New England, northern and western New England, northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, northwestern Maine. The upper features in this are, you know, quite telling. So this is really what's the driving force. And I'll back it up on the GFS model a little bit here. Here we go. So here's that trough that's swinging eastward. I see how it, when I say it cuts off, if you look at the upper low right in there, you get this upper low that forms. And these are very, very cold systems aloft. The higher up you go, the colder the air gets. This is a cold core system, and something like this, when it looks like that, is very strong. And it sometimes, this time of year, you can get some interesting surprises in all of this. Let me see if I can take a look at, do we have an 850 temperature map? Yes, we do. This usually is helpful. And you can see on this map, actually, how the yellow is warmer air. The 850 millibar level, we're talking roughly about the 5,000 foot level. And we use this oftentimes to try to gauge rain and snow. So you can see where the surface lows goes on the GFS, and the area in blue, shaded in blue, that's all where the temperature at that level is below 32. So it would suggest, if there were precip, that you would get snow in that area that is shown to be below 32 degrees. The NAM model, and we'll switch over to the NAM model. You can see what a difficult time that this puts forecasters in. The NAM model swings that cold pool up into western New York a lot faster. So that's why when you look at the NAM on the surface, I know I'm jumping pretty quick, but when you look at the NAM on the surface with the frozen precipitation on Saturday, you can see how it kind of starts to expand it across upstate New York and in through Vermont and New Hampshire. It's kind of like the RGEM in this. The RGEM model has a very similar look. So bottom line is, I think we're going to probably see some rain for New England. It's going to be much more beneficial for upstate New York, which is in a drought, also beneficial. And I want to finish off with the Canadian Maritimes, because I know I've got my watchers up there, and we'll give you a quick look at this with this storm system. And you can see it gets rain into Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and then on up into Labrador, and then it pulls out. And most of the cold air stays north and west of Newfoundland, so you're still getting into some rain as we go into Sunday and Monday. But there's quite a bit of snow that's indicated up in this particular area. And in fact, when we put the total snowfall, we can see that it is actually generating, these are total snowfall accumulations through 84 hours on the NAM, generating 30-inch plus amounts through this entire area in southeastern Canada. So if you like snow, the ski resorts up here are going to get plenty of it. And you notice that the NAM also even has 1 foot plus amounts through Monday morning in parts of upstate New York and northernmost Vermont, and just touching the northern tip of New Hampshire. Getting to that time of year, these forecasts are tough. So don't forget, with severe weather running around, SS Storm Chaser is the place to be. Meteorologistjoechaffee.com, weatherlongisland.com, and nycweathernow.com for all the latest local weather developments. We'll be updating much more on the website during the day on Friday, and of course check my Facebook page, Meteorologist Joe Chaffee.